What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Wisconsin Sportsman podcast, which is brought to you by Lone Wolf Custom Gear. I'm your host, Pierce Nellis, and this is your home for all things hunting, fishing, and conservation in the Badger State. Folks, hope you're all doing well. As this episode drops, we are just over 5.5 weeks from the Wisconsin archery season opener. I don't know how we're already that close, but hey, I'm here for it. The deer cogs are in motion, and I'm just excited. I'm stoked to be chatting deer. I'm stoked to be in that headspace. Couple things on that note. We're 5.5 weeks out from deer season. We are just 1 week out from the deer season kickoff at the Great Dane in Fitchburg. If you have not RSVP'd yet, please do so. You can find a link down in the show notes of this episode. Let us know that you're coming so that we can make sure that we got plenty of food and can just plan accordingly, make sure the space is set up properly and all that. But it's going to be an awesome time. We're going to have e-scouting seminars from myself, Derek Malcor, Paul Lanier, and Jacob Sklenner, followed by a Q&A session and some awesome giveaways. I've been in touch with the Onyx crew over the last couple weeks here as well, just getting ready for this thing. And I am chomping at the bit to get going on this thing. I'm so fired up for it. So please come on out and kick your deer season off right with us. Again, that'll be at the Great Dane in Fitchburg, Wednesday, August 12th at 6 p.m. So it'll be this next Wednesday. So let us know that you're coming to that. On top of that, if you're looking for more opportunities to prepare for deer season in just a fun, proactive, just awesome way, on August 22nd, I will also be with the Okayest crew. There'll be Derek Malcor, Matt Strime, Eric Clark will be there, myself, and Brian Dombrowski. Me, Derek, Matt, and Brian will all be giving e-scouting seminars for their sort of preseason kickoff sort of thing. We're going to break in their new studio space, and we're going to be doing an event titled e-scouting into in-season scouting, where we're going to be doing very similar things. We're going to break down different properties that we like, kind of like terrain that we specialize in, and then you guys actually also have the opportunity to send a pin or submit a piece of terrain for the four of us to all kind of put our heads together on with you and walk through the things that jump out to us, how we might, plan access, what things, really stand out to us from a habitat standpoint, or, what terrain features look best to us, to hopefully get some of you guys off on the right foot there. And if anything, just have an awesome open conversation about how we all would approach a similar piece of ground, right? On August 22nd, if you're looking for another great, this is the same day as that Okayest e-scouting event there. But if you don't want to go east and you'd rather go southwest a little bit there, I guess, the Lone Wolf Custom Gear crew is also going to be doing their Whitetail Road Show at the Lone Wolf Custom Gear headquarters in Bellevue, Iowa. That's going to be an all-day event. You can find info on that at dyingbreedbowhunter.com. That's Cody's website. If you haven't attended one of these before, it's my favorite event of the year. Even more so than my own. I love seeing those guys. I love learning from all of the just the awesome whitetail hunters that attend these shows. It's just an awesome community event. You will absolutely learn a ton and leave that a better hunter, even if you don't touch a stand or anything like that. So I'm going to try to be at both of those. I'm going to try and go to the Okayest one in the morning, and then once we wrap up with that, I'm going to head cross country and hopefully make it to the end of the Whitetail Road Show. And if not, I'll be hanging out at the after party, is my plan for that. And then the following week, if you're still looking for some preseason whitetail, I don't know what you'd call it, engagement, I guess, on August 29th, the following Saturday, I will be down at the Sitka Gear Store in Vernon Hills, Illinois, on behalf of Onyx. I'll be there for their deer season kickoff, giving e-scouting seminars, talking deer, hanging out, and having a great time. Those guys run an awesome shop. I know there's going to be some awesome raffle prizes and giveaways there as well. So if you are in the neighborhood or you want to make a trip down to Illinois, which I know, tough sell, bear with me, but I think that'll be worth it. Last but not least, too, pretty exciting stuff on the trail camera front over here. You guys might remember a couple weeks ago, I chatted with Paul Anir and Ben from Yellowstone AI. You've probably seen some of their content online on the socials. They are running an awesome promotional deal right now as we get ready to head into deer season, where they are offering, if you purchase a Yellowstone trail camera, at full price or whatever from their website, you can go in, create an account, and if you use my code, this will be Pierce Yellowstone, PIERCEYELLOWSTONE. When you sign up, you can use that code to get 1 year's worth of unlimited data for free for up to 4 cameras. So you can, of course, purchase more cameras than just that 4, but this code will get you unlimited data on up to 4 cameras. You basically create your account once you purchased your camera at Yellowstone.ai. That's their website. And then from there, you go to Yellowstone.ai/friend. You put in that code, Pierce Yellowstone, select which cameras, and activate the data plans. You have to do this before September 1st. So we're kind of on a crunch time. This is only good for the month of August. But then after that, you'll get to enjoy free, unlimited data for an entire year on up to 4 cameras. That's $129 value per camera. So if you ever want like an active soaker, this is kind of a great opportunity to do that, where you can just keep tabs on things all year round. Have that little dopamine hit when you wake up first thing in the morning and you grab your phone and you get those trail cam notifications, and you get to just you check in the camera year round and have the satisfaction of that. So be sure to go check that out if you are in the trail camera market or you want to try something new. I will be getting my Yellowstone camera deployed this week. I've got a long list of, not a long list, but I've got a substantial list of potential prospect properties where I'm hoping to gain some permission on. And I'm going to start with my top priority property there and then kind of go down from there. But I tell you what, if I get a yes on this first property, I am going to have my Yellowstone camera in my bag with me. And I will say, great. I really appreciate you being willing to let me hunt your property. Do you mind if I go hang a camera down there right now? And that'll be my Yellowstone camera. So I'm super fired up for that. Last but not least, which I know I've said multiple times already, but I've got a couple dates left open still for the month of August, September, and October. We are getting into our prime time for hopper fishing in the driftless region. The trout are starting to get really happy. We just got a nice little bump of rain, so the creeks are full. Got a nice light stain to them, and the fishing has been fantastic and looks like it will continue to be for the foreseeable future. So I'm fired up as a trout angler. Those conditions line up great for me. I love this time of year, throwing big foam bugs, slapping them on the surface. Super, super, super aggressive eats with fish coming up to eat those things off the surface. It's just fun, playful fishing. So if you'd like to get out in the driftless and harass some trout, you can find all my info at goodchanceflyfishing.com. I'd love to get you out there on the water. But, that was a long intro there so far. Sorry, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. But hey, this week, I had the absolute pleasure of sitting down with one of my good buddies, the one and only Brian Dombrowski. Now, I'm sure you've listened to episodes with him before. He is a freaking savage in the whitetail woods. This guy scouts more than just about anybody I know. He finds bigger deer in an area that I think a lot of people don't really attribute to having the caliber of deer that he is consistently finding. He's just an absolute guru in the whitetail woods when it comes to scouting and finding these deer and eventually putting them on the ground. But I got a chance to chat with him. It was really great to catch up. We dove into a whole plethora of things. This is a little bit longer episode, as you may have seen there. But I mean, we talk kind of his preseason scouting, really how his postseason scouting transitions to his preseason scouting. We talk about a recap of his Illinois rut hunt and kind of his limited experience in hill country and the things that he found and how he kind of attributes that back to the much flatter part of Wisconsin that he's in. things that hold true kind of across both habitat types and the way he was seeing deer move or use terrain in very similar ways, even though the terrain was a fraction of what it was in, legit hill country and everything. We talk about mock scrapes and how he's kind of devised his own concoction this year and things that he's doing to use those on to gather some data. Talk about more like out of state plans and just considerations and stuff, kind of how it just requires a different mindset when you don't put in all that work that you have done at home, and then you go out of state and kind of have a blank slate and you get to sort of shoot from the hip and just hunt. So we talk about different mindsets there. Let's see. We talk about, a whole bunch of stuff, you guys. Trail camera strategy, ground scent, you get into, deer bedding and travel patterns. Where do bucks like to bed that they can still put stuff between you and them and just make sure that they're safe and monitor as much ground as they possibly can. Talk about late season hunting and my need to purchase a muzzle loader and just a whole plethora of fantastic whitetail knowledge. So I'm super stoked for you guys to hear this episode. I had a great time chatting with Brian, as I always do. I appreciate that guy a ton. He is a dude that I have learned more about deer from in the time that I've known him than, quite a few people. He's just an absolute wealth of knowledge. You pick up so much great info from him just through osmosis, listening to this guy talk. So with that, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let you guys listen to Brian drop some knowledge here. But hey, all those events that I mentioned at the beginning there, you can find the info for those down in the show notes. Please RSVP. Would love to see you guys in person and kick the deer season off right. So with that, thank you all for listening. Enjoy this episode, and we will talk to you all next Tuesday. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a quick sec to tell you about Lone Wolf Custom Gear. Lone Wolf Custom Gear is as good as it gets when it comes to mobile hunting equipment. Whether you're a saddle or stand guy, public land or private, Lone Wolf Custom Gear has a set of sticks, a stand, a camera arm, and any number of accessories to get you closer to your target buck. To make it even better, everything is 100% USA sourced and made right here in the Midwest. And it's even assembled right across the river in Iowa by hunters who love chasing deer just as much as you do. To build your kit today, go visit lonewolfcustomgear.com. Now, let's get back to the episode. All right. Joining me once again, one of my favorite guys to chat deer with, Mr. Brian Dombrowski. How are we doing today, Brian?
We're doing good. Thanks for having me on again.
Dude, happy to have you back, buddy.
Yeah.
I love chatting deer with you, as we just were for the last, half hour or so almost.
Yeah.
I'm stoked to be catching up with you and just seeing how the summer's treating you. I know you are a dude who scouts, like a lot of folks scout postseason or in seasons, one thing like that, People talk about summer scouting, but very few people, I feel like, truly dedicate 4 a.m. wake ups and their Saturday mornings and all that kind of time to actually get up and, even when it's hotter than blazes, get out and still keep scouting and find answers. But you're the exception, my friend.
We get after it. So
yes, sir. How has the summer been treating you so far from a scouting standpoint?
It's been treating me good. It's it's like it's that all year process, but this time of summer it's a little less scouting than the first 5 months of the year. But
right, for sure,
it's treating me pretty good though.
Hell yeah. So talk to me a little bit about the postseason scouting thing. It's a lot of looking back at last year's intel, a lot of confirming theories, answering some of the questions and stuff that we had over the course of the fall and the last season. As you transition towards summer, what new questions are you starting to ask yourself? What does your mind shift to as you start headed into the warmer months and looking to almost more preseason scouting at this point?
The only thing I'm concerned about when end of May, when I kind of wrap up my postseason scouting, from December to May, is that buck still alive?
Sure.
That I found a sign on, walking in the woods. Is that buck still alive? That's the only thing I concern myself about. Get into those areas. I need to get intel on him. I need to get eyes on him. Tracks, something. Is he alive? And then, because you're looking to put that hit list together for the fall, You're
Right.
I'm looking to put together, the biggest deer I can find and whittle that down to a manageable, group of deer to chase. That's my issue is I tend to look at too many deer, you know. You scout too much. You're always scouting. You're always looking for deer. There's always something coming
Hmm.
up, and it's like I got so much shit in the works all the time. It's like I gotta learn to really narrow down the focus,
Right. Yeah.
because I actually enjoy putting the pieces together on a deer
Hmm.
and putting a game plan together on that buck, and maybe confirming he's still alive. Then I get bored with him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And
Totally. The game. Yeah.
and then I want to go. I want to do that for this buck. And then I want to do it for this buck. And then
Yep.
I want to know how they're moving around that landscape over in this property. I want to, this county, this county, this county. I want to figure out all these different deer.
Hmm.
And once I put that together, I just get kind of, and I'm just like, I'm kind of slap them on the ass and I'm on to the next. So
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah, no, I
So
totally relate to that, dude. The process of the scouting and like answering those questions and like almost kind of playing detective.
yeah,
It's like, not that I don't want to, punch my tag on him and
yeah,
have him hanging on the wall, but like at the same time, if that happens, then the game's over. Like I can't
yeah,
figure him out. I can't figure that deer out again. If
yeah,
I'm speaking from your experience.
yeah,
I'm gonna put myself
yeah,
in those shoes because I still have yet to reach anything even close to your status of solving those puzzles there with those deer. But
yeah.
I try. But dude, yeah, it's super relatable. I think in terms of the I mean that's what gets people out scouting and like I mean that's what makes somebody scout all summer long like you is like I
Yeah,
mean the chase and the figuring out the puzzle and everything.
yeah.
How do you balance the FOMO side of that and kind of like okay like this is the deer that I'm gonna go after? Is it a size thing? Is it just kind of where he moves to? Like
It's a couple different things. It's going to
mm,
be do I have history with that deer?
okay, sure.
Is there something special about him that means more to me? There
Mm,
might be a bigger rack deer over here, but this one has, I've been chasing this one for 4 or 5 years. I know he's a mature deer. It's probably going to score 135 inches, so big deal. But he's a monster, that marsh. Uh, have that's probably what gets me going. As far as that, I'm always looking for the biggest rack deer, of course, but history with an animal, and a percentage, I mean, what percentage do I have to actually take that deer?
hmm.
If I'm finding that deer on a small parcel, I got a pretty small playbook of that buck, and it based off his sign, I only have maybe this small a window to actually chase, he's only on that property during this time, maybe when this food source comes in or whatever, that time of year. So, you kind of weigh your options. And a lot of times if I'm going out west, I'll plan out west hunt or different state hunt, I mean. And that kind of leads into like, well, let's get something on the ground and I'm going to move on,
Hmm.
But,
For sure.
but yeah, this year I'm not going to play that game. I'm just going to keep the out of state stuff real loose. I don't
Hmm.
even know where I'm going to go yet. So um, I got some really nice deer around here I've located, and it should be interesting. So
Hell yeah.
we're still whittling down everything, but
Yep.
everything's kind of, I want to get it down to, maybe 4 or 5 really nice bucks. Kind of
Hmm.
just, we're
For sure.
talking. Yeah. And I sent you a couple pictures of them. I mean, these
Yeah.
are really nice bucks. So,
Yeah, dude, that one that was on your story
well,
today was an absolute psycho.
yeah. And that's, I'll share
Holy
that.
smokes.
Yeah. I won't show the real big ones, but I'll show that, but that's a really nice buck though, too. Cause I have history with that deer for a couple of years, in that marsh. And last year he looked similar, just not as, but now he's putting on, he has 12-inch G2s, got, I don't know, he must 10, 11-inch brow tine on that one side, maybe. I don't know. It's
Hmm.
just, it's pretty psycho. And his body's huge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you see that big belly on him and crap.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh
oh
yeah,
my
he's built like
God.
a muley too. I mean, just like
Yeah.
just shoulders, gut, tines. Like
Yeah.
yeah, he's.
And people aren't finding these deer,
Mhm.
A lot of these bigger bucks, people just aren't finding because I don't see the pressure in there from other
Mhm.
hunters. I don't see the
Right.
camera setups,
Yeah.
but these are hard areas to hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not fun. So
Mhm. Yeah, dude.
you,
What?
you take the fight out of a lot of people,
Yeah.
going through some
Oh,
of this shit. So
yeah. Well, especially doing again the legwork this time of
yeah,
year when it's been 90 some degrees for the last
yeah.
3 weeks. Like,
You
yeah,
know,
that'll keep a lot of people out for sure.
then
Yeah.
I'll offset that high temps and crap. You get out, get up at 4
Hmm.
on Saturdays and you head out to get your shit, what you got to get done, and be back at home at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
before that 90, 100-degree temps roll in, because
Hmm.
you don't want to be in those marshes of the woods when it's 100 degrees. That's just
No.
miserable. That's
Yeah. Yeah. That's
it's bad enough, you're getting up early and shit. But
yeah.
it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. You cross paths with a lot of deer too
Yeah.
while you're
Oh,
scouting. Like you in particular, I've noticed like you've been posting a lot of videos and stuff
yeah.
of a lot of deer that you're glassing in the evenings or in the mornings. I would imagine getting in there first thing in the morning, it gives you almost like a trial run to figure out how that area behaves at different times of day, right? Like I'm sure it kind of opens up that extra opportunity to test thermals a little bit and kind of see how the
Yeah.
wind swirls in certain areas and all of that. Like, yeah, that's something. And I've heard you talk about it. I've heard Jacob Sklenar talk about that. Like, and that
Yeah.
he did it because he was in college still when he
Yeah.
was. I mean, I know he still does it before work and everything, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's something I definitely need to dabble in a little bit. I think. And,
I enjoy getting out there really early in the morning to see how that, all these woods open up and
mhm,
usually everything's a little wetter, so you can walk real quiet. And,
yeah,
I don't know. I see deer and I just kind of let them walk past me. They don't see me. I just go on my way, just kind of moving around. And it's almost like you become part of your family out there almost, you just
yeah.
kind of, they don't see you as a threat. You just kind of, just going on your way, it's kind of
Mhm.
neat.
Dude, totally. Yeah, well, that's
So,
like my favorite part of turkey season. And really, it's like anytime outside of fall when you see deer, they could care less. They know that
yeah.
they're safe, right? And like,
Yep.
I don't know, just that demeanor changes. And I know you and I have talked about kind of like you talked sort of just like the kind of like the energy you're putting out into the woods a little bit,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
like if you're on edge and you're stressed out or you're all wired and you're like trying to almost force something or
Yeah.
whatever, like they can sense that. They wig
Yeah.
out. But when you're just out there scouting in particular, they
Are
seem
you
to,
are you working with are you working with the woods or against it?
yeah,
It just
exactly.
kind of, there's a flow to it, I guess. I don't know. You
Totally.
see, you
Yeah.
see some guys just, hacking through the woods and making noise and crap, and other guys are just kind of, you know,
Hmm.
maneuvering
Yeah.
around like the wind. So,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. When you do those out of state hunts, does it feel like almost like not less pressure is the wrong wording, but like, does it feel kind of more, is it like a
free,
less pressure? Yeah. A little more
like
free and kind of shoot
freeing.
from the hip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Like, do
Oh,
you kind of have
yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I base more out of state hunts. I'm based on like historical data because I don't do any pre scouting or run
Hmm.
canopy and that crap. So you just get out there and you read the sign, pressure, people, and you're just kind of looking at the topography, how the deer would lay, and how if that's the big thing. If even with a lot of pressure, the sign's going to tell you where to hunt. All that,
Yeah.
that's that's as simple as it gets. Um, the sign will tell you where to go. You got to just learn how to read that.
Hmm.
Like last year in Illinois, there's a shit ton of people on that property. I ran into people everywhere. The first night out there. I'm like, I just want to see how people are hunting, right? So I went for a walk, and everyone was hunting on the tops where the fields were, and I got whistled at 4 times, cat called, and I was laughing. I'm just like, this is crazy, I'm like, I'd get whistled at over here. I'm like, I'm gonna go check this corner. Get whistled at over here. And I'm just like, just laughing. But that let me know how people are hunting,
Hmm.
and so I use that to actually, to take out out there. So seen some nice deer or whatever, and finally got a chance at it. But when I was dragging my deer out, um, I think I ran past like 6 other guys coming in. So yeah, it's just crazy. So, but I ran into a local guy, younger guy out there, and I shared some information with him. It's like, because he just wanted to shoot a deer, you know. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, or a buck or whatever. And I said, why don't you go sit here? I seen like 4 of them, at this one point. And I said, this game to spot. I said, have at her. You'll probably tag out there. And he was running a camera out there in this ridge by this bed I had found. And he's like, yeah, this is the big 8 that's in here, I'm like, yep, okay. And I seen the caliber deer, that was out there. And I was like, I wasn't super impressed with the caliber deer that was on that property, but ended up shooting that big 8 then,
Mhm.
that he had bought. Just by following, I just got curious, went down that dry creek. I saw that track leading up that hill, and then there was like a little bench. And I was just kind of envisioning how everything was going, because I was kind of in this big valley. It's like a wide valley, and there's a shit ton of sign in that valley.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, this is where they're playing.
Right.
At night, that night they're coming down here playing.
Mhm.
So you start looking, and I'm like, okay, the pressure's over here. We got this thick bench here. We got a dry creek here. Got a knob up here. Got a water feature. People aren't going to be coming up. It's so damn steep. And I just kind of envisioning how those deer were moving around that landscape, and I saw that track. And I took that track up towards there, just far enough to get the intel I needed. I don't want to, I'm not going to benefit by going any further. I got what I needed, and came back the next morning, and sure shit, that buck had come up the backside of this little knob, and he was wrapping around to come on that flat right where I was, shot him there. So I was kind of neat. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, everything just worked out really nice on that one. It was just, just the wind and everything, just the
Mhm.
layout, and it worked out really nice. So
Hell yeah. Yeah. What
yeah,
time of year is that?
that was first week of November.
Oh, sweet.
So
Hell yeah.
yeah, but they were still doing deer things. They weren't like running around like nut jobs out there or nothing like that.
Yeah.
They were moving
Yeah.
around, making their rubs and stuff. But
Mhm.
I didn't hear no chasing or nothing like that.
For sure.
But,
Yeah. Did I mean that's one of the things I think folks are starting to maybe catch on to a little bit is like everybody's ruckcation is
oh
that
yeah,
first week of November, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it first, like to your point there, the first week of November can be kind of hit or miss depending on where you're at. You're either going to
correct.
catch the very first flurry where it's just everything's nuts and you have that one day that things are awesome, or
Yeah,
you're going to hit lockdown, it seems, and
yeah,
it could be a ghost town or it might not even have happened yet, right? Like
yeah.
to your
What
point. So,
What's really interesting, I thought was really interesting about hunting like the hills and stuff like that. I mean, you find a spot like that,
mhm.
it's going to be good forever.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yep.
mean,
Hills don't go bad.
no, it's like you hunt around here, this flat shit, and they're logging and all this stuff. It's like you got to reinvent the wheel every single year,
Right.
and because you got different crops, you got this, you got that. I mean, not down there they're growing corn and corn and corn,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's what I was really interested. I'm like, I could probably sit here almost, all the time and have an encounter with a decent buck.
Yep.
And when I got to the tree I was going to climb that morning, uh, but I found that track, worked my way up that ridge, ended up seeing like one rub, on this old flat. And then I seen a bed on this, I seen one bed that overlooked where his track was coming up. I'm like, okay, I'm
Hmm.
going to sit right here in the morning. But I got that set, that set in the morning, and I look and I could see tines sticking up out of the leaves right next to my tree. Son of a bitch, so I grabbed it. It was a guy's set of rattle antlers from like a decade ago. He had climbed that same tree I did. So
That's awesome.
I was like, what the hell, I mean, can't get any better than that, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I love that when you're on public and you find not necessarily somebody else's, junk or whatever, but like
Yeah.
when you find old stuff that's like
Yeah.
10 years plus old or whatever. There was one tree that I was in, this is probably 4 years ago or so now, and weird scraggly little thing at the head of this drainage, and I was all excited and I climbed up, and as I got up to the top, or not to the top, but up to where I wanted to get, I looked up and I was about to, cinch I was still saddle hunting at the time. I went to cinch my tether up a little bit higher, and I look up and there's like an ancient, like crusty, mossed and like mushroomed over, like sawed off branch there. Yeah, it wasn't a bowl. Okay. Yeah, just a sawed off branch. I was like, this is a skinny tree even now. I don't know how the heck that guy was getting up this thing 10 years ago. It was half the size. No way, dude. Yeah, dude, that stuff's cool, man. It's like, I love finding the old, like the 2x4 and plywood stands that guys were putting up too, and some of those old farms that got transferred to public and all that. And like, just, you know, it was good. Like, they wouldn't have gone to that much trouble. At least you'd hope not. Like,
what was neat out there, you know, hunting those hills like that too, you realize that sound, you know, like the way it travels. It's like, I was in this first spot I hunted, you know, it was a killer spot. I had encountering like 3 different encounters, and I hit a branch on one buck I was, you know, taking a swing at. But I'm up there, and I had this ravine coming up to me, and I was right on the edge of that ravine where they would cross right below me, but my scent would carry over no matter what. And then right above me was this, I was in the inside edge of this field, like that ravine kind of wrapped around me, and up towards that field edge, it kind of dead ended. But the way I was sitting, those deer would hit that ravine and they'd be like straight below me. But no matter what, my scent was carrying right over them, going right down, you know, dropping right. So it was like bulletproof.
Sure.
And I'm sitting there, and also I'm like, I look at him, son of a bitch, there's a buck coming right below me, you know, coming up, that, you know, he goes down and up, you know, right below me. So the sound issue out there was kind of crazy, and how open it is, a lot of those areas, you know, you got
those mature hardwoods.
So there's very little thick stuff, you know. So
right, and it always makes me scratch my head too when you're hunting like open hardwoods like that, because you'll just find that one random scrape that's like terrain wise it kind of makes sense, but habitat wise it's like, why? Like there's no reason why there should be here aside from, I mean, there's obviously something I don't know. And I think, you know, I've talked to a handful of guys like Tony Van Asten, you know, I can pick his brain for hours on just the stuff he sees in hill country, like in the steep kind of bluffy stuff there. But he said he sees a lot of guys, or a lot of bucks, bedding down like just in deadfalls. Like it'll be like wide open timber, but there'll be a handful of deadfalls, and it's like every other one's got something in it, you know. And I don't know, it is weird though, because it makes access a real head scratcher in terms of like, okay, how am I getting into this thing without getting spotted, without having my thermal swirl and do something goofy, or like, you know, like you said, the sound, either you're totally quiet because you're down in those ditches and ravines, or you get up on one of those flats and it's wide open, and it just, you may as well be walking on glass. Like it's just crazy.
I can, around here, I can have a deer right below my stand, and I'm looking, I can't see the damn thing, you know. I've had that where I'm looking and I'm like, where I know you're down there, I can hear you eating acorns, but I can't see them. that's or one's walking in the grass or something, and you know the grass is 6-7 feet tall. You know, you see the grass moving, and you're like, that's nice. You know?
Right.
So it's a totally different game. So
definitely. That's good though. I mean, I think mixing it up from time to time is, I mean, it keeps you well rounded. And what were some of the things you took from that hunt in hill country that you, or vice versa, that you took from the swamps to hill country, or the hill country to swamps?
From hill country to, you know, to this area here, we do have, there is some topography, you know, there are some, you know, hillier areas around here because of where the glacier left off. You know what I mean? We got the whole Ice Age trail stuff, and so in any type of topography around here, I really pay attention to, you know, as far as elevations and stuff. It doesn't even have, so I always look at it like this: you take that hill country and you just take your elevation game down to 0, or you know, you drop it right down, and that you could drop that in a marsh, you know, like
totally.
Instead of 200 feet, you're dealing with maybe 2 feet rise, and it operates the same way. But that's one big thing as far as any elevation around here. I really pay attention to it, even if it's far away from where I'm hunting, like maybe a couple miles, because I've been on a couple really, really nice bucks, and one of the damn things was down at Wisconsin deer, down at the Dells Deer and Turkey Expo this year, you know, and I saw that buck. I'm like, I know that buck, you know, and it was like 206 or 204 or some shit, you know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I knew that buck, and I'm like, son of a bitch. and I knew where we shot, stuff like that, because I got video of that buck, and
Mm-hmm.
I never could put the pieces together based off the public in the area.
Yep.
I think I was picking up bits and pieces of them on different properties, but I didn't realize the exact home range. This deer had a bigger home range, and he ended up getting killed on a hill, on the bigger hill in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've heard that a couple different times now, where a big buck gets killed on one of the only hills in that area.
Yeah.
Could be like a 10-mile area, and that there's a hill over here, and it seems like a big buck always gets killed on that hill.
Huh.
So it's strange, especially in flatter country.
Right.
So,
Do you see him using the terrain and the topography kind of similar to how they would? Because I've talked, talking with Josh Rayleigh, I know the last buck he shot in Wisconsin, second to last buck he shot in Wisconsin, before he moved south, was he ended up just kind of a weird ditch looking thing, but it was like a micro saddle that this buck was running in between these two bedding areas. And it was, literally it was a 1.5 foot deep saddle across this big berm. And that just happened to be what funneled him to him. And said it's weird stuff. It's stuff that like to your point, you max out the elevation slider on Onyx and you're going to see, the same, it's going to look the exact same. Like, how do you see deer using those sort of smaller hills by you?
A lot of micro stuff. They're easy to miss. Another thing here that I don't see in the hill country is a lot of soft edges. These soft edges are just insane. You might have a creek, and then you got, and that 100 yards by that creek, it's thicker cover, and then it peters off in a little more different timber right there, and then all of a sudden you get a thicker cover again, the grass, so these soft edges, you're really using that. A lot of cricks, but these it's really small nuances they're using around here compared to the hills. So it's hard to pick up, especially right now if you're going off into a lot of these, these features don't show up on, the mapping applications a lot of times. They're just, they're just, you can tell, even if they don't show up in the mapping applications, you can look at the aerial imagery and you can see the different types of grass. And you can tell that grass grows not in, a less wet environment than this grass.
For sure.
Even when you're walking around these marshes like this, you're, I'm looking for a certain type of grass, because I know it's going to be harder ground, so that kind of stuff you can pick up on that you're not going to see, but it's these more nuanced, these more minute details, I guess, around here.
Yeah, totally.
It seems like it's more cut and dry in hill country to me. It's this.
Yeah, so, here's a bench, here's a cliff, here's the creek that runs through the bottom. We
got pressure over here. We got a little set. We got this here, and then every year you can kind of build off of that from that area and keep going on.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you've got your give and take of each type of habitat, right? Like your flatter, more wetland type stuff. I've heard some guys talk about how I think that's like that makes it just clicks with their brain so much more because they can kind of anticipate. They're just used to it. They know what the flow of that woods is like. Whereas you've got other people who are, you drop that, traditional flatland hunter in hill country and they're like, well, I can't figure out my wind's doing. I don't know how the thermals are going to affect this and that. And you've got other guys who are the complete opposite and they they just click with hills and swamp country. They're like, I don't even know where to begin. And I remember, let me ask you this, when you're hunting that flatter ground, what are the things that you're paying the most attention to while scouting? And kind of walk me through your process. I know that you're a huge rub guy.
Yeah.
But
I love rubs.
How are you using Onyx while you're out in the field and scouting?
If I'm doing it, whatever. Yeah. If I'm doing an initial look at a property, I'm picking out spots for, let's say I got a 500-acre property and I want to scout that property, just take a mosey and look at maybe 3 or 4 different points in that property. The areas I'm looking at are how are people accessing it from the private? How far are they going back based off of what I could see? Where their stand sites based off of what I can see? Usually, you're going to find these little nuances as far as these little pockets of, how do I want to say that? Let's say you got a creek and you got to access it on the public side from this, one side of the creek. So I'm not going to pay much attention to that. I want to get on the other side of the creek
For sure.
where it backs up towards the private, because I know that buck probably has a little buffer right there. He's going to put that creek in between him and the people, or maybe a field. Could be a grassy field. It could be anything, but he's going to put that geographic feature in between him and the people on the public. And he's going to know that the people in the private are only going to be bumping up to this area. So there's a pocket right there,
Mm-hmm.
And then based off of that, you can just walk that transition. And even if you're on the public side of, the main side of the creek, you can pick up a rub and then you can dog that across the creek and he's probably bedding within 100 yards. You can dog it to the other side of that creek, I guess, if that makes sense. But
yeah, no, totally.
I'm looking for these areas where I think that buck can, he's going to benefit from people coming in from this way or this, he's going to be able to win, I guess. I want to say.
Yeah. We can keep tabs, right?
And when you start looking at area, the properties, you can kind of get rid of a lot of shit on them, a lot of monotonous terrain, a lot of terrain over here or over there. And it really comes down to just a few key spots you want to check on. And if the sign is in there that you want to hunt, then, so be it. But otherwise, you just kind of keep going. But there's that. It always seems like there's some sort of geographic feature that deer wants to put in between him and you.
Yep.
He
totally.
He can watch you coming, even in hill country. He can see you coming. He can either hear you, he can smell you. There's some sort of feature he's trying to put, even in flatland.
For sure. So, yeah. Well, I love that you pointed out there too. It's not just features like a creek that's going to be like a real, that's something that's going to like seriously deter quite a few people, or like a straight sheer bluff wall or whatever. It could just be something like a big grassy field, like you said, and like something that just if you're a hunter and you're trying to get through there, you are exposed. You're out in the open, or that deer can get that little bit of elevation and see across that field and watches whatever it may be.
Yeah, he could be in the backside of a clear cut on a little knob, or he could. There's something, it could be a lot of different things, but I guess visualizing a creek or something is probably easiest. There's gonna be some geographic feature usually,
Totally.
And, that's what makes it hard to get on them. It gives they got the advantage, and most guys are gonna hunt this side. Okay, I'll wait for him to cross. That just hardly ever happens.
Right. Oh yeah.
You got to take it to them.
Yep.
So
exactly. Yeah, dude. It's. I'm realizing as we're talking right now, I haven't talked deer in a minute. My wheels are just starting to lie. The cobwebs are falling off, and they're starting to spin. Man, I'm sitting here like thinking back on turkey season and how some of the just to what you just said there, just how you got that almost like a limit. It's like a soft limit, an unspoken limit of where most people go.
Yeah.
And usually you just got to get another 50, 60, 100 yards beyond that. And all of a sudden it's like, poof, you're in the game. Because they're not going anywhere. They're just figuring out how to not go where everyone else is for the time being.
100 yards can make or break that hunt. I mean, I'm over here seeing deer. This guy's over here. He's not seeing damn thing. You can't, it's these little minute details. And you were talking, I don't know if we were talking when you're recording that about just get like a random scrape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hardly ever think they're random,
Yeah.
I always think, even if it looks random, that I just freeze in my tracks. Because I'm like, this is probably a particular buck scrape, and he can see it from where he's bedded, or he's monitoring this damn thing somehow.
Yep.
Where he's, because it may look random, but maybe that buck's just up here on this, behind this log. He's looking down in that little valley. So if you're walking that transition, when you're scouting and you see a random scrape, I really perk up to that shit. I'm just like, no, I'm looking,
Mhm.
Where can he be and monitor this damn thing? I've
Right.
seen that. I've seen that too many times where, I found that and then I just walk past it and then I find it and then all of a sudden what the hell? Here's a bed right here. He's laying dead in his bed. I found deer dead in their bed, overlooking something like that.
Hmm.
That I thought was random. And I was like, holy shit! So
Are they typically like smaller scrapes?
yeah, they're small
Okay.
scrapes. Yeah,
Yeah. Gotcha.
yeah, they're just just a small random scrape on a trail.
Yep.
You're like, oh, what is he doing? I don't know. Whatever. And you just most people are just going to go right by that shit.
Yep.
You know, but it's not one of your hubs. Your primary scrape areas where a
Yeah.
bunch of deer's
Something.
core areas are converging. This is just his where he gets up. He's smelling everything. He may drop down off that bench or wherever he is,
Yep.
and checks things out right there for a little bit, and then starts feeding. So, you
Dude,
know,
I
you probably have a few you
I'm
walk
gonna
past,
do some
that's,
yeah, I'm gonna do some hiking this weekend, I think, after hearing that, because I have a pretty good hunch of where where whatever made that scrape is spending his time. Now that I'm
yeah.
sitting here picturing that as you break that down, that's a hot tip right there, man. Because
And,
you see these minor scrapes, for
yeah,
lack of a better term, right? And a lot of times you'll see
yeah,
them in a line that seems like you said, like it seems
yeah,
random.
yeah,
But you're right, like why would they go to the trouble of making a dozen, dinner plate sized tiny little scrapes that they
yeah,
never hit again?
yeah.
Or maybe they do hit them. I don't know. But like, why would they?
These,
There's some
yeah,
reason for it.
deer are very efficient.
Hmm.
I mean, that's everything they do is about efficiency, moving through the landscape, eating,
Yep.
surviving, getting away from people. It's all about efficiency. So if they're sitting in that one pocket and they hear people coming from this direction, they can bump 100 yards and they're safe.
Hmm.
Or 100 yards this way, and it's just very efficient. Deer die, a lot of these deer they'll be dead if they keep running.
Right.
So they're just looking just to get out of your, periphery, just to get out of your arm's reach.
Yep.
Stop. You
Yeah.
know.
Exactly.
So
Well, especially like, I mean, most. I was thinking about. I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I was thinking about hunter pressure on
yeah,
public versus on private, and I
yeah,
started like actually tallying up the number of people that are at my folks' place, the number, like within a square mile, how many hunters are there, presumably, over the course of a season? And I was
yeah,
like, I mean, just opening weekend alone, I'm pretty sure there's like between 17 and 19 people, like in one
yeah,
square mile, all hunting. And like, obviously, that leaves a lot of space in between, but
yeah.
still, like, I don't know that I've seen that many people hitting public. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But you're right. Like they couldn't
It's,
keep running because they're just going to run into more trouble, and it's probably going to be, you know,
yeah. A lot of the,
potentially,
a lot of
more
these,
organized.
yeah. They'll just put
Sorry.
their head down too in the tall grass and just sit there and
Yeah.
let you walk by.
Hmm.
So it's kind of neat. But always follow that sign. That's
Yeah.
number one. Follow the sign. If anyone, if any young kid or anything getting into this crap, just who cares about pressure? Who cares about all that shit?
Hmm.
That deer is going to tell you where he's moving.
Right.
So
Exactly. Do you think so like people talk about reading rubs and the size of the rub potentially correlating with the size
yeah,
of the deer and stuff like that? Do you think the same is true for scrapes?
I don't think I don't
Or
think
do you think
that's
that's true in the first place?
with scrapes. I don't think it's true. Um, I think some scrapes get used more than others.
Hmm.
I got so many does and fawns hitting my scrapes. It's unreal. So I mean, it's not just it's. I use scrapes a lot for inventory.
Yep.
I put a lot. The placement of that scrape is key, but I use a lot of mock scrapes and stuff in certain spots for inventorying these marshes. And but I don't think the size of the scrape. I mean, I could see the size, maybe how much it's getting used. Like
Hmm.
there might be 100 fork horns in that area, and there's piss pounding it.
Right.
I don't think this reflects the size of the deer. You'd have to get intel on the rubs in the area
Right.
or
For
the
sure.
tracks,
Yep.
to see if something's really nice in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a rub guy, but I'll live
Mhm.
and die by a big rubs.
Yep.
I've found there's this one area I kept seeing this one marsh I was in like 2-3 years in a row. I kept seeing this big ass rub like up to my chest and on these big popples. And it's out there again this year. And I might go put a camera out there again. But I'm like, God, what is out here? It has to be a monster buck, you know. It wasn't a monster buck, you know. I made a mock scrape in the hub section of this marsh where everything kind of crossed where that crick kind of make a sharp S. It would jump that crick right there, you know, from one bedding pocket to the next. And I got, you know, I'm pretty sure got every buck in the area on that scrape. But the biggest one was about upper 30s, low 40s, 10, you know, but the body was just huge. And I'm like, he has to, you know, and I go back there again and there's fresh rubs. I'm like, he has to be the one making it, you know, but it did interest me to go back there after him, you know, just because, you know, his body was big, but it's like, I had different ones I was going after, but I'm like, son of a gun. I was a little disappointed. I was thinking there's going to be, you know, some mega making it, but
yeah,
you know, but that's actually, that's a hell of a deer. You know, I mean, that's a hell of a deer anywhere, 140-inch buck. So
like you said there, like body was massive. And
yeah,
dude, I don't know. I always love like when you go to the expo in the Dells and stuff in the spring and you walk through the scoring room.
Yeah.
How many different ways a buck can hit 130?
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Like some of these things, like, oh, he's probably 115. And it's like, oh, 137. How? Like, what are you talking about? Or like, oh, this one looks 150 easy and he's 132.
Yeah.
This doesn't add up quite, but
no. I don't put much weight on the spread. It's usually the main beams and tine length.
Yep.
And that just starts adding. And then you add, you know, if you get something with some nice mass, then it's like bam, 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 you know.
Yep.
But those I got a buck in the house, a big velvet, and it's probably 16.5 inches wide. I got North Dakota, but his main beams almost touch up front. And then he has I don't know, maybe 11-inch G2s and stuff, and they all kind of, it's a tight rack. But but he just, that's, you know, I just kind of put a tape to myself and his score just kind of go, you know?
Yep.
So you just, it's a pretty deer.
That's super cool, dude. You mentioned like running mock scrapes, and I know this year you're experimenting with kind of like your own concoction a little bit this year.
We're doing a home brew, yeah.
Homebrew, yeah. How have like I've never ran synthetics or any sort of a mock scrape of any sort aside from just either an oak branch or a grapevine or something like that. Yeah. But how have you been kind of doctoring up your own?
So I ran, you know, I bought a couple gallons of that Buck Fever synthetics. I ran that stuff's great. It worked wonderful, you know. But I'm like, after you smell it, you're like, I think I can make something like this. You know, I mean, you smell it, you kind of know what the hell's in it. You know, I mean, not everything, of course, but so I kind of got online, did a little research. Of course, you're going to start with distilled water, you know, for both the ground and your you know, your licking branch. And then the licking branch, you smell a licking branch, it has some sort of vanilla in it, extract or something, you know. And then you're going to want something that might make the scent linger a little bit. So maybe some vegetable glycerin. Maybe put that in to keep it a little moist. Maybe some husk fiber, you know, put in there and mix that together. You can, you know, come up with a pretty good licking branch scent. And then as far as the ground goes, you know, you got your distilled water. You're going to have, you know, some sort of ammonia in there. And then you're going to want probably that vegetable glycerin, you know, something to keep it moist. Maybe some, what do you got? Maybe some sort of salt, just so once it dries up, it kind of crystallizes a little bit. So when the water comes back, you know, can moisten it, release it again.
Sure.
And maybe some other little, you know, hints of this or hints of that, you know. But that's the basis of, you know, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Instead of paying all that money for this, I'm just $20 I'm set for the year. So
right, yeah. Well, it's I think it's interesting because I was always under the impression that it was like the synthetics were. And obviously there are like the synthetic tarsal scents and stuff like that or whatever. But like I always thought that like the Buck Fever synthetics or like these other synthetics out there were they had some element of, you know, their urine or their pheromones or whatever it may be. I didn't realize it was just kind of like this tastes good. I'm going to start licking this, and then the next deer is going to catch a whiff of me, and then the next one, and next one, and next one, and like just snowballs from there. That makes a lot more sense. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, you can add little doodads of this or that, mix stuff in different types of seasons. Maybe you can get some hot ester scent, kind of mix a little bit of that in there. I mean, there's you can do some different things with it, but I don't know if it's too much rocket science on that. I've had good luck. I haven't seen any deer run for my shit, so I got some big bucks on camera, and biggest I've ever seen, and they're not running from it. So,
that's the test right there. I was talking with a couple weeks ago. I did a 3D shoot with my buddy Jason. We were talking about synthetics, I think, or like human scent, or like peanut scrapes or something like that. I can't remember who it was. He said, but some old timer swore by just bringing a tin of I think it was just like Cope wintergreen or something like that, and he would chew and spit along his trail, and he swore that like wherever he spit, these does would come in and they would sit there and they would just be all over it, which I don't know if I maybe, but
it could be. I've had I went to climb a tree one morning and it was dead. I'm like, I can't climb this tree, but the bark like ripped off it.
Yep.
So I moved over 20 yards and climbed up the tree. Mm-hmm. Every deer in that area that morning came up to that tree that I ripped the bark off and smelt it. It was crazy. So,
well, it must have. There's got to be some sweetness of like the decaying bark or something like that to it. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're like, let's say you want a deer to stop at a certain spot on the trail, kind of just rough, just take a little thing, just take your boot or something, kick open the fresh earth right there.
Mm-hmm.
That buck will come by and,
super true.
Doesn't take much, if you want to stop at a certain spot or hesitate a certain spot, just because they're going to stop. They love that fresh ground,
Right. Dude, I like that. It's kind of like it's the ground scent equivalent to like a bump and dump kind of thing. Like everybody talks about, like you got to be cognizant of your ground scent and make sure that you're not crossing wherever trail that you're expecting them to go down. I like that idea of just like make them stop. What are they going to do? Like, ideally, by the time they've hit that spot, you're at full draw anyways, and your pin's behind the shoulders. Let her rip.
And they're always going to smell that damn ground.
Mm-hmm.
They're always going to stop and if it's just moved a little bit or something, flip the leaves open right there or something that are rotted, something just gets them to stop. So.
Definitely. Dude, before we started recording, we were talking about, you noticed that this year in particular, looking at your trail cam data and stuff, things are several weeks behind. Like unpack that a little bit more for me. Like what are you seeing in terms of just like the shift? Is it like growth cycles, stuff like that? Like what are you seeing?
Not growth cycle. We're extremely dry right now, and we got oaks dropping right now. So I'm like smaller
I've seen quite
oaks.
A few of them too. Yeah, little guys.
So I noticed on my cameras too, they're hammering oaks. They're just they're filling up my carts with just a bunch of does eating oaks. But as far as that shift goes, usually it's around like I always wanted to be ready like the first week of July 3rd. So I want to be ready by then, because usually like I start picking up the deer shifting in March. So they're shifting on properties.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't happened until about this week now. Now I'm seeing stuff kind of move around a little bit, like different bucks coming here. It seems like that shift was a little bit later this year. So just
interesting.
Yeah, just kind of laying back, you got to trust your scouting and just kind of lay back and you just let things kind of fall into place for hunt season,
Right.
And just keep tabs on the different food sources going on in the areas. And, but it's been so hot this year. So it's just, it's bumped back just a touch.
Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming you see these deers and you say they're like returning back to the swamp and stuff right now. Like similar kind of game where they're there for early part of the fall, kind of through late-ish fall, and then as things start to ice over and freeze out and stuff, they start to move out more towards ag land, kind of like for the winter, kind of. Gotcha.
They're even within the marsh are doing their shifts.
Okay.
Even in thick cover and stuff like that, their home ranges are just getting back to more of their early early season home ranges, I should say,
Hmm.
where I'm targeting them back in there,
Sure.
where I know this bedding complex is or something like that. And I don't know if it's um, people are out there just dinking around on their properties a little more. Uh, uh, yeah, it's hard, but it seems. But I'm catching that on multiple areas, different counties, that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
it just seems like it's a few weeks behind.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else listening is going to notice that, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Right in if you're seeing that, folks.
yeah,
That's
yeah. Call
yeah, exactly. I like it, dude.
it.
Well, like you mentioned, you're struggling to kind of narrow down the hit list a little bit
Yeah.
and everything right now. Like how, I guess throughout the season, and as we start get closer and closer, like how do you balance keeping tabs on the deer between the like running the trail cams versus the boots on the ground scouting and looking for these deer in person?
Um, most of it right now are slight intrusions into their area.
Okay.
As far as I know how far to go in the areas I hunt based off my pre-scouting, where I need to get the intel I need. Um, but narrowing down that hit list, that's kind of always changing based off of what I'm seeing. Or
Hmm.
I mean, everything could just go up in the air if I see a nice buck in an area. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
like, oh, well, screw this. But I my problem is I have so many different things. Different deer. I'm trying to keep tabs on all these different areas,
Hmm.
and I just got to kind of weed out. You know, I just look away from that area. Just turn it
Right.
off, focus here, um, and really narrow down that search. But as far as I'm always keeping tabs, driving around the food sources. I'm always playing that percentage in my head. What's the percentage I have to go after this buck? Do I got a shot at him? Just because I see him in an area, do I got an actual,
Hmm.
am I wasting my time? How big a property is that? Because he's only going to spend so much time on that property. Maybe I take a shot at that deer a certain time of year based off the sign and all this, the foliage, all that kind of crap in that area. Um, but it's definitely tough to narrow that, narrow everything down.
Yeah.
Um,
As you start to hone in on specific areas and
yeah,
write off a couple of the other ones, are you still leaving those cameras soaking for the remainder of the
a,
season just to see what goes on? Or
a lot of them I am.
yeah.
I used, that whole strategy's changed throughout the years. I used to just, everything used to be pulled before the season. I just don't want to get stolen. So I'd
Hmm.
make everything, and it would all be in season scouting.
Sure.
But there's a lot of areas now I'll keep running it on a certain scrape or a certain area. And maybe in the middle of the night when I know those bucks are out, all the deer have left that area, I'll sneak in there at, 10, 11 at night, check that out, do a little nosy poke,
Hmm.
just kind of see what's going on, see if there's that fresh rub line, see if that staging area is, turning on. Um, but yeah, I will leave a camera run now. I don't have too many issues with people stealing my cameras, so
Sure.
I'll
Nice.
leave them out there. But yeah, I'm always getting out there and just always want to keep tabs on shit, because it's
Hmm.
like 1 week out of the woods it's like a whole season, I mean, it
Oh
takes a
yeah.
while.
It's a
It takes
whole
a while.
stage.
God, but everything shifts and it just takes so much time to regroup and catch up what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You're skipping a chapter of the book.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
brutal, man.
So
That's that's so true. So yeah, I always you think that you got I mean deer season's a long season, right?
yeah,
But you're absolutely right. Like they shift, especially early season, like that September through October, like pretty much September all the way up to pre-rut is
yeah,
such a like every week is a different game, it seems. And they're
yeah.
moving around and some of them are starting to ramp up a little bit. Some of them are laying down sign, others are like total recluses and you know, the does are,
It's
I mean, kind of a constant, hopefully,
yeah,
but the food sources is always are always changing and all
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And I think that's why I rely I do so much off season scouting, at least in this state here,
Hmm.
as I can kind of keep tabs on that shift better based off the sign I see.
Hmm.
I'll be like, okay, I know this sign was made this time of year, so I'm going to pay attention to the staging area at this time of the year, before the foliage pushes that deer back into thicker cover, by
For sure.
stem density or something like that.
Hmm.
Keeping track of those food sources, see if so you just want to keep tabs, but you don't want to get too intrusive until you take your
Right.
shot.
Yeah.
It's just something.
Totally.
Yeah. Something I screw up on a lot. you get too intrusive, or some shit like that. So
yeah, I've just got one more question. Let me see if I can run another 20 yards in there, and then something busts out of the brush.
That's yeah. Even last year when I was looking for that buck in Illinois, I'm like, I got to a certain spot. I'm like, what am I going to gain walking down this trail any further than I am right
I
now?
noticed you said that. Yeah.
Am I going to gain anything from going any further because I think he's up here? And if I go down this trail, that's going to booger that, So I just said, I'm not, you just got to know when to say when, and, So.
Yeah, dude, that's the toughest part to balance. I feel like, especially as somebody who's in season scouting and covering ground, trying to keep tabs on that. It's always like, okay, like, how deep does this bedding area go? I don't know.
Yeah.
How close can I get to it? What about that tree? And that's like,
yeah,
that's the dance.
It's a dance. Part. And a lot of times they're following, you got a general idea based off of some scouting you've done probably in the past, but the day of, you kind of want to get to a certain area and that's when that in-season scout reading that real-time sign comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
That area might have changed a little bit, but you're reading that sign as you're walking in. You kind of look ahead. You're like, okay, is there anything up, can I get 50 yards this way? Do I got to go, what kind of little adjustments do I got to get to hunt that spot?
Right.
That's why I never really keep my stand sites too concrete.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in a spot,
right.
Based off the wind or whatever. I need to get to that here, I need to hunt that spot, if I got to come from this way, because I don't want to be like, well, it's a south wind. I can't hunt that area,
Right.
No, you can't. Yeah. You got to hunt. The sign's telling you to hunt there. You got to hunt there,
Mm-hmm.
Whether
exactly.
you're just off wind or you set up and as soon as that deer smells you, you're at full draw or you're you got to take your chances.
Right. Dude, 100%. And I mean, that's so often you're splitting that hair of there. I can see my milkweed drifting right towards that deer and it just hasn't quite reached him yet. And I'm not sure when it's going to get there, but he should know I'm here, but he just, for whatever reason, doesn't yet. And
sometimes you just got to say, the heck with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Roll the dice. Let's do it.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think back to, early years of hunting and everything and trying to figure it out, not really having zero concept of thermals and how they work or anything like that.
Yep.
But it's easy to overthink. Sometimes you almost need to like strip it back to like, okay, like regardless of what the wind is doing, like you said, this is the spot. And I just need to figure out how to get there. And that's where the game comes in and you can figure that out hopefully over the course of a morning. And but it's, I don't know, man. Like I've seen a good number of deer meet their demise doing not necessarily dumb stuff, but just being willing to tolerate a little bit of a nudge and a little bit of poking around and stuff, right? But,
I don't know. Yeah. You gotta, I've done it too where you got your bow in hand, walking in, you read the sign, you're like, man, I got to get to that tree right there, 20 yards away. You're going through the grass, you got the smoking hot sign. And, I get 2 sticks up and there's a buck bedded 30 yards away. He's looking at you. He takes off. But then you got to realize these things are probably still battered up, at least early season. So I'm like, climb up that tree and all of a sudden a couple hours later, there's another buck bedded 60 yards over here. You can see his rack in the grass. He stands up, and it's you just got to have some patience out there, it takes time, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly.
Wow. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Take the lessons as they come.
Right? Yeah. It's hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone wants instant gratification now. It's like,
totally. Totally. Yeah. Dude, what are you most excited for fall 2026?
I just need an encounter with a couple of deer I've seen this year,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll make me
You got a lot to
excited.
be excited about right
Yeah,
now.
there's a couple bucks that, they're awesome. So
Mm-hmm.
that's all I can say about it. They're awesome deer. I mean, they're as big as will ever be able to find, probably, some of those, but
Yeah.
um, I'm looking forward to that, just verification that my scouting was on point. My set was on point, and it came together,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to maybe take a memory back from that, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah.
That's the most exciting portion. Like last year when I shot my buck in Wisconsin here, um, the scouting was on point, the set was on point. I read the sign right, and it just, you know, came together. I had a bedding area closer. There's a really good bedding area closer to the parking lot. I had to work along that bedding area, and there's a transition uh, between that bedding area that comes out to, like a back door, and it crosses a creek into another bedding complex. So I was able to work that whole transition back there, and I wouldn't have known about how to get back to that spot unless uh, through my, I was running a mock scrape there, but those deer could have been at anywhere. But during the summer, I would check my cameras like once every 30 days, my SD camps, and I would take a different route in there each time. A different route
Mm-hmm.
in and a different route out. So I wasn't covering the same. And that helped me figure out exactly how those deer were bedded in that spot, what I had to avoid. Maybe
Sure.
by just one, if I bumped them once or but always pick a
Yeah.
different, I was always picking a different route. It was kind of monotonous, thick terrain where they could bed here, 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 here. So I was, okay,
Mm-hmm.
eliminate that area. Eliminate up. Yep, I'm running into them here. Eliminate. Now I got a soft point I could get it there. So that was really hard to
Totally.
find, and that's really hard to find some of those areas. Like, how am I going to get back there? So it's, at
Mm-hmm.
least in this flat terrain, real monotonous, thick shit. It took me a little bit, but yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
dude.
So
No, 100%, man.
that's,
Yeah, and that's like you're testing theories by doing that,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
you're figuring out, you not only are you honing in on where these deer are at, but you're also figuring out, you're like kind of cataloging as well. Like, okay, if I'm going to pinch or I get some weird wind, like, okay, I've walked this way before and I kind of know what to
yeah,
expect. And,
yeah,
like, if anything, I don't know, for me at least, that gives me more confidence going in because I know what to expect. Kind of, I know I'm not going to be fumbling around in the dark. And even if I am, it's somewhere that I'm somewhat familiar with. I can kind of
yeah,
picture it in my head, even though it's dark. And,
yep.
you can pick out those landmarks and stuff, sort of those big trees or those big features and stuff like that as you go. And
But
yeah.
just finding out that little chink in that deer's armor,
Mm-hmm.
where he is and where he can see and stuff, kind of was sliding it there.
Yep.
So there's a couple deer this year though. I'm trying to get proof of life on. I think I got proof of life on one, but I'm trying to get proof of life on another one that I shot at with the muzzleloader I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yep.
one I've been after him for 5 years, and I took a poke at him through the marsh like December 2nd or 3rd last year. That son of a gun, and he came back into a bedding area. I circled that bedding area. It was snow out, so I circled I circled this half-mile bedding area,
Mm-hmm.
trying to cut his track coming out. It wasn't coming out, so I knew he was probably still in that inside of the horseshoe.
Yep.
So then I walked all the way back around, and I entered like the open part of that horseshoe where I could see this bedding spot. They were 150, 200 yards away. Really thick, tall grass and brush.
Mm-hmm.
And he stood up with a couple does, right at last light or whatever. And I took a little further shot. I was like going for glory on it, but yeah, either I scared the shit out of him or something. But I haven't seen him since.
Dang.
But
Dang.
usually there was no blood, no nothing. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
gosh darn it.
Yeah.
But usually I got some intel on that buck by now. So
Right.
and I
Shoot,
don't.
man.
So
Well, hopefully he's just a little phantom and will pop up here soon, man. But
he might.
dude,
But
he's a freak.
yeah. it's just fun, putting the pieces together on these different bucks like I was talking about. Just figuring them out, getting the game planned.
Right. You're building a case on them, right? Like
we're building a case. But when you do that with one deer, that kind of lines up. If you ever go back in the area, another deer kind of comes, nice buck kind of pops up. He might be doing that same thing. So,
right.
So you got a catalog of spots. And just kind of, and over the years, you can get really efficient at your scouting. Just hop into these spots, be like, I want to go here, 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 and cut it out. Just keep going.
Right.
So
yeah. Well, like you said, like you find those spots that have everything the deer need to survive, or everything that a mature buck needs to get to that caliber. And once one of them is gone, another one might not be a perfect fit into the puzzle, but he should do something similar, right? I mean, that's why we see historical rub lines and all that kind of stuff. Like there's something happening here at that time of year that gives them everything they need to do. So
there's a great big piece I scouted this year for the first time. I got scouted the shit out of it this off season. Found 3 great big deadheads out there, and the deadheads I found were bucks that old. I mean, they had some age. So I was like, I was really excited about that, because that's probably the limiting factor in everything now is age. Because nobody's letting a 3-year-old buck go around. 2-year-old buck, that's getting shot around here. 3-year-old, it definitely. So you get an older buck with this big palmated webbing and shit like this that you can find deadhead in a marsh, and that gets me excited. So I'm running a couple mock scrapes out there, got a couple assets, and stuff, and I know that spot isn't going to heat up until they get pushed back in there.
Sure.
I don't think it's going to be good until maybe the second week of gun season and later. So I don't think it's going to be good until then, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
This spot is going to be a late season or second week in a gun season. Whenever opening weekend, you're going to have an influx of people on all this private and the public areas. The bucks are probably just going to lay tight. You're going to get up at night and head back. And then so I think that second weekend is going to be pretty good out there.
Sure. Dude, that's something I gotta. It's a chink in my armor that I need to figure out, is the late season thing, and just tracking down late season food. And I don't know. I've just never, usually by that point, you're done, focused on freezer filling, and not even like necessarily done, but I'm just like, it's like, okay, gun season's gone through, and like I don't have a muzzleloader, so I'll borrow buddies, every now and again. But it's
you're missing out if you're not muzzleloader. I'm telling you,
that's what I've heard.
I've taken a couple of really nice bucks with the muzzleloader recently, and that's gun season absolutely sucks for me. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm like, can I even see a deer? I'm out there all day in these good spots. I think I don't even see a deer. Like this is a muzzleloader hunting, and everything kind of returns. You can really start putting together the pieces on these deer again, that feeding patterns and all that stuff. So. You're missing out if you're not. I would probably forego the gun season. Get that muzzleloader, go get yourself, that CVA Optima 2, $420 or whatever it is, and get your butt out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to see what I can muster up for this year. But dude, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for, this is the first year on a lot of the public ground that I've been running around on, kind of beating out for the last handful of years. This is the first year that I feel like I've actually got a little bit of a catalog of some bucks that I'm expecting to see again. There's one on this river bottom property that we and I were talking about that he's not one. I've tangoed with him. I've had him at like 11 yards when he was a 2-year-old and all that. Yeah. He's not anything crazy. He's kind of spindly, but he's just a brawler, and he always has been. And like, he's been just kind of a nice, tight, not crazy wide, pretty tall, just 8-pointer. Yeah. But the year before, 2 years ago, 2024, he busted off his G3 on one side, like early, really, really early, like probably like October,
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know, like 20 something. Yeah,
Would that stop you from shooting them?
it did.
Did it really?
It did. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you
no,
also
that.
you know about the buck that I had that I
Yeah.
was after that year though too. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
was holding out for that one, but I saw that one, and then last year he not the one that I was after in 2024, but this one this brawler. Last year he showed up again, and by I think it was like November 3rd, he'd
Yeah.
broken off the G3s on both sides. So he just had like a big, like nasty looking main beam and these two G2s and stubby little brows. And I'm like,
If he
I
has that
want
big,
you for some reason.
yeah. If he has that big ass body on him and he's the king of them, I'm shooting him. I don't care.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. If I cross paths with him this year, it'll be game on.
yeah. I had a really nice, there was a really big 10 I was chasing, and the damn thing came by me a couple years back, like 6 yards, broke a main beam. He broke one of his main beams off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm looking at his body. I'm like, God, this thing's a tank. And I'm like, should I, you know, and I didn't let him go or whatever. And I'm like, God, you know, but so I think someone else probably got him. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you know, that sucks when that happens, you know.
It's almost like they're, they get cockier once they've busted up their rack. It's like, it's almost like they know, you know what I mean? Like when everything's, you know, immaculate, they're just a ghost. And then as soon as they show up with a broken main beam or a snapped off tine, they're like, I'm just going to daylight for 6 days in a row. Why not? Like, I'm ugly now. I got nothing to lose.
That's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
Well, speaking, I was just laughing because today I was out in the woods and trying to get some intel, and just I found this great big buck or whatever a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to do some poking around. I ended up finding 5 cell cameras, and just you know, 4 of them were for the same guy. I could tell the setup and the type of camera and stuff. I'm like, you know, I'm like, that's the same guy doing it. So but one of the guy's camera, I took a fern and I was like waving it in front of his camera like this. And do you know how horrible that is when you're getting cell pictures of a fern, knowing you got to go out there and cut that fern off?
Yep.
So as soon as that guy sees that fern going in front of his camera, he's like, son of a bitch, you know, he's
That's evil. Yeah. That's hilarious.
I know when I start getting picture after picture of a branch or something, I'm like, oh, I just dread it. So I just take that fern and kind of wave it in front gently. So.
That's hilarious. Oh my God. That's great. I haven't heard of that. Dude, that's an awesome prank. I've heard of guys taking a climbing stick and like popping it off their pack and like making fake rubs. Like just behind a camera, like one, you know, my buddies is talking about like, I made like a fake rub line that like just led to nothing. Like, like you got too much time on your hands right now, but that is funny.
Speaking of camera pressure too, there's a buck I was after last year. It was an absolute giant. I'm trying to get proof of life of that one. There's like 13, 14 cell cameras on this property, right? Last year. I went out there this year and I saw 2 cell cams, but they're from the same individual and they're on one side of the property. And the rest of the area was just vacant of pressure, honey pressure. So I was like, that's how quickly it turns on and off. And I think I would have heard something of that deer getting shot. You know, it was that big.
Do you think that the heat had anything to do with it?
Is from the people, you mean, or
from just keeping people out from hanging cameras, just not wanting to run out there on a 90-degree day?
I don't think so. I think it was more after last year and just, you know, the shit show it was out there. You know, I mean, there's so many people. I think everyone's like, well, you know,
a lot of people know about that deer.
I know one guy does. I'm sure. I mean, I know one guy does because I went in there in January doing some scouting. It was like 6 a.m, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to head back to daylight. And it was like early January 6th or 8th. I'm like, I let everyone have their shot. I'm going to go back. I want to go back to this core area, this buck, you know, where I think he might be. And I'm getting back there and crossing all this crap. And also I'm like, what the hell is that? Is that you know, like I see a red light.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh. And I thought it was a radio tower, you know, look, because it was that tight gray light. And I'm looking, I'm like, son of a gun, there's a guy. Oh shit, there's a guy the guy had worked, he came in the right way, if he was on
Mm-hmm.
deer. He came in, crossed his creek, came in downwind to that area where the deer was gonna be coming off the field. I mean, it's like, I didn't think the buck was back there anyway, but then I ended up writing him, I drove around the block, put a note on his truck. I said, "Hey, sorry for screwing you up. I had no idea. I didn't think anyone's be back there,
Mm-hmm.
And I
Right.
said, I hope he's still alive. That's all I said. Gave my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew where he's hunting. I knew what buck he was hunting. And he texted me back and said, yeah, he sent me, he had a video of him, like I had a video of him. And we I said, if I hear anything about it, I'll let you know,
Yeah.
I haven't heard nothing of that deer. And I think I would have. I think he had to be, God, I thought he was around 180, I think last year. So he was just a big deer, so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's people that, he's a visible deer and he just goes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think there's some activities going on, maybe that,
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
So,
yeah. I don't know, man. I'm starting to worry about just those such activities as, I don't know if it's becoming more prevalent or not, but I mean, we've had around us, and I don't know what the CWD is like up by you, but like we had a couple of bucks that were, I mean, for sure 5, maybe 6 years old that were, I mean, well established in their size and just disappeared. Yeah, gone. So
I don't know how much I know CWD's out there and stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the deer don't get old enough to even have it. I don't affect them. I scout so many damn properties and I'm out in the woods so much.
Mm-hmm.
I do not see dead deer laying there that are all emaciated. I don't see that anywhere. And I'm covering counties. So,
right.
And I'm like, if it's so bad,
mm-hmm.
and I'm covering a lot of freaking ground, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could
it's
see
a good thing. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. So I'm not seeing emaciated deer zombie walking or any of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
So maybe one gets
south.
maybe. But I mean, maybe if one gets smucked by a car that looks pretty beat up or something like that. But,
yeah, sure.
If it's still humping around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at least we don't have to worry about EHD around here or anything like that yet.
Thankfully, yeah. Dude, no kidding. That can stay in the southern and western states for now. It's don't wish it on anyone, but yeah.
What are your plans for the fall?
I'm gonna be still hunting the family farm a little bit. Got a bone to pick with that river bottom property again, and I'm still trying to figure out some out of state plans at the moment, just in terms of where I'm going to go and if I can get permission on certain spots and stuff like that. I got a lot of pins to chase, but I don't know. We'll stay busy regardless, I'm sure. But I for sure that river bottom property has been eating at me for the last couple of weeks, and so I really want it because that was, I mean, part of it's just the amount that I learned in there. You know what I mean? And just the time that I put in, the boot leather that was burned over the last couple of years and everything. Just, I mean, that first year in particular, 2024, the first year that I hunted it, man, like I'm not heartbroken that I missed that buck, but like, I don't know what the word is for it. Like, I'm okay that I missed it. Like, that's the one miss that I'm not upset about, really. But I'd be lying if I said I can't close my eyes and see that arrow spinning towards that buck and smacking into the tree behind him and watching him just kind of like jump startled and like look back around like, what the hell? That was weird. And like, and then just gone out of my life forever. And so I don't know. I've got a handful of deer that and like I said, that bully buck's down there. I think I've got a pretty good, I got to be on good terms with the landowners of the private adjacent to it. So I'm hoping I can maybe work something out there and keep that relationship going to at least just get creative with access and maybe, I don't know. I just want to drop cameras all over that place just to like answer all my questions. I really should just bite the bullet and do it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the top of my list right now. Maybe I'll get a Mustang. I'll hold out for the 9-day. We'll see.
I'm telling you that is a fun time, man. There's some people
do it. Sorry, go ahead.
There's some people that do it, but it's a nice time to get out there and just.
I did do it 2 years ago. I borrowed my buddy's, and the one. Let's see, I got out 2 nights with it, and I hunted one piece of public that was like just this massive, wide open. Basically, the whole thing's just a giant. You park up on top of this bluff, and basically not a bluff, but a super steep hill, and then it just drops off, and you have to go up the other side. Probably 250, 300 feet if you want to get to the other side of that ravine.
Yeah.
But then it's basically just a big bowl around this river that then drops down, and you can go to the other side. And I don't know, it's a cool little piece and all that. I've trout fished it a bunch, and it's just a neat spot. One of those ones that feels big when you're in there.
Oh, yeah.
But I hunted that and didn't have any luck, didn't see anything. And then hunted my folks' place, and I went further down up this draw. It's just always produced deer, kind of like put me back when the holiday hunt, you could shoot bucks. When I was in like 8th grade, early high school, dude, I would every single night I would race off the bus. I would run inside. I would grab my 243 and my, snow camo from Farm and Fleet or whatever, and my vest and all that. And I would go up on top, like up this draw and go up on top of this field, wait for the deer to filter out and everything. And then by that point, hunting a little 5-acre piece, it was like, okay, they know where the ladder stand is. And they've all just like migrated 100 yards further up the draw, and I can see them, but I can't do anything about it. And so I would, at that point, start and get out there and get a little bit closer and everything. But I did that with the Muzz, and had one of the bucks that I was after earlier that year come up nosing a little yearling doe, and I could see his rack right at last light, and he was in there and like kind of below me, sort of in this little ravine, and the yearling got out and just something swirled a little bit, and I could see one half of his rack, and I heard it like kind of like clacking through the little saplings and everything, and then just like vanished. I couldn't figure out where the hell he went. Never saw him shoot out the other side. I mean, I climbed down. So I don't know, he might have just stayed put and just watched me get down and walk out before he followed that doe, knowing him. But so I don't know. I've had good encounters with it. It's a fun time of year, but we'll see. I think gun season's late this year too, isn't it?
It might be. Well,
kind of.
It's always the same, around Thanksgiving. So it's
right. But there's like the one stack where it can go, like it starts. I forget what the earliest it starts is, like 17th or the 18th or something. This year it's not starting until the 24th, it looks like. So it's like, I'm looking at October. Never mind. Excuse me.
So that could be, it's a little later than this year.
Yeah, 21st. 21st this year. Yeah, so then, first week of December will be that Muzz season. But I don't know, man. It's
You'll like it.
Yeah, I'm just excited. I'm excited. But, well, dude, I've kept you for, we're coming up on not quite an hour and a half yet, man. But, dude, time flies when I'm chatting deer with you, dude.
Yeah, we could do a line by line of every deer I know of, and it could take another 5 hours. Be like, well, this buck here, this buck here.
Yeah, no, what we will do, we'll save that for, what is it, August 22nd. You and I are going to be down at the old Okayest Hunter headquarters, breaking in their new studio for their e-scouting to in-season scouting
that'll be a fun time.
That's going to be a blast, man. It'll be you, me, Derek, and Matt Strime. I know Eric and Tyler and all the Okayest guys will be there as well. So I'm super fired up for that, man. But
you got a big shindig going on here another week or two, right? Next week?
Yes, 2 weeks. Yeah, the 12th. That's right. Yeah, the 12th we'll be doing our deer season kickoff. That's right. Yep. And then, the 12th, and then the 22nd is Derek's. And then, folks, if you're wanting to make a trek down to Illinois, I will actually be at the Sitka store in Vernon Hills doing another e-scouting talk for their deer season kickoff. So
that's pretty
making
cool.
the rounds this year. Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah. And then after that, I just get through my trout season and then I can focus on deer. It's
yeah.
But well, dude, before we wrap up, where can folks go if they want to follow along with you, all the scouting that you're doing, see some of the bucks you got that you're putting on the story and everything, and just keep up with you in your season?
Yeah, we can head over to Instagram, shadow_pursuits. I'll post stuff on there. There's a couple bucks I'm not going to show yet, but most of them I'll show. So.
Hell yeah.
I'm not like, they're not my deer. So I enjoy finding them and just sharing the scouting experience. So.
Yeah, dude, I love keeping up with your scouting stories, dude. Like it's just, cause I always enjoy seeing like the areas people are in and like the things that they're keying in on. And like, especially when you start like keying in on rubs, once everybody gets hard horned and all that. And like the way you interpret that and just like the nuances of the rub, like, oh, there's a little bit of blading here you can see because of this little groove and all that, dude. You're a dude that I learn a hell of a lot from, man. So I always enjoy chatting with you and
appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. But well, dude, this has been a pleasure as always, man. I look forward to seeing you on the 22nd for that event with the Okayest boys. And folks, if you want to attend that, I will drop the link to that down in the show notes, as well as Derek's handles, or not Derek's. Derek, we'll save Derek for the 22nd, as well as Brian's handles and everything. But yeah, dude, always fun, man. I appreciate you taking time to come back on the show and stay in touch, dude. We'll talk soon, man.
Thank you.